A tragic shooting of a well-loved local high school football player killed in an Atlanta home. A 17-year-old turns himself in.
Police continue to investigate the death of that 2-year-old girl at a Payless shoe store. Tonight, could it have been avoided?
How long will it take to seat a jury? Dozens of potential jurors say they've already made up their mind in the Tex McIver murder trial.
Live from Atlanta, 11Alive at 5 starts now.
And we begin with breaking news. 11Alive Sky Tracker is over Spring Hill Elementary in Fayetteville, where a school is currently on lockdown. Police are investigating a suspicious person that may have entered the school.
Nobody was hurt. Police say the lockdown just a precaution. And we want to remind you, stay with 11Alive and 11alive.com for any updates. We will pass them along in real time. And don't forget to sign up for breaking news alerts. That is through the 11Alive app.
They killed my baby. They killed my baby. I can't get my baby back. That's all I want is my baby.
Family torn after their 15-year-old son, a rising football star, was shot and killed inside a friend's home. The suspected shooter is only 17 years of age. Jeffrey Reeves turned himself into Atlanta police earlier today.
11Alive's Naima Abdullahi spoke with the victim's mother today, and she joins us live from Atlanta Police Headquarters with more on the investigation into what happened. Naima.
And right now, APD is saying the shooting was accidental. This all happened when the 15-year-old Carlos Davis was visiting the home on Mercury Drive, which isn't too far from his home. Now, APD says the suspect has been charged with involuntary manslaughter, which stems from a situation that could have been prevented. The suspect was playing with a gun goes off, shoots the victim dies, and now the family is wondering how could something like this happen when there were adults inside the home.
I just want my baby. That was my everything. Me and my baby did everything together.
Her everything gone because someone decided to play with a gun in a room full of people.
I don't know what I'm gonna do without my baby. I'm so used to waking him up, taking him to school, picking him up from football practice.
And now, Nikki Davis won't be able to watch him go off to prom, graduate, and pursue his dream of becoming a professional football player. She knew something was wrong when he didn't come home on time.
And I noticed they was 6:07, and I FaceTimed him, and he said, "Mom, I'm on the way." And that was the last time. And right after that, they killed my baby.
Police say the person responsible is 17-year-old Jeffrey Reeves, who turned himself in. The victim's great uncle devastated he won't see the little boy who was on his way to becoming a man.
I just spoke to him 2 hours before it happened, and I was just messing with him. I was like, "Son, why don't you do something with this wild haircut?" And he was like, "Uncle, it's okay." And I said, "Well, okay, that's cool. I'll see you later." And 2 hours later, we get this call.
And this mother, haunted by her worst nightmare that a bullet took the life of her son, who had dreams of one day taking care of her.
My baby is gone for nothing. For nothing. And I can't get him back.
And right now, there are lots of unanswered questions. The mom also tells me initially she was told information by the people who were there at the home when the shooting happened that ended up being false. And she's wondering why someone would ever tell her that information. We'll share that part of the story in our 6 o'clock newscast. Back to you, Jeff.
Naima Abdullahi in downtown Atlanta, outside Atlanta Police Headquarters. Thank you, Naima.
Tonight, Riverdale police continue to investigate the tragic death of a 2-year-old inside a Payless shoe source. It happened Friday night at a store off Highway 85 when police say a mounted mirror fell on the toddler. Here's the question tonight. Could this have been avoided? Chris Hopper's on the story with the latest. Chris.
And Melissa, that's certainly the question that Riverdale police are trying to answer tonight. For now, they're calling it an accident, but their investigation will eventually give us an official answer. This Payless shoe source in Riverdale remains closed tonight. Someone who answered the phone today says he's not sure when it'll reopen. We also learned today 2-year-old Ifra Sadiq's body has been returned to her family after a GBI autopsy.
We're all still in a pretty big state of shock.
Her family spoke to 11Alive outside the store this weekend. They too want answers. The family says this mirror fell on Ifra. The family says you can see where it was in the store. Police say it hit her in the head. She later died at a local hospital.
It was not secured at all. I think there was one screw that was put in.
Police will not yet say if the mirror was somehow secured to a shelf or a wall. That is part of the investigation. Letitia Patrick works next door. She saw Ifra on the ground and called 911.
I'm just trying to figure out, how could that happen in the store? Like, I don't know if it was secure.
11Alive reached back out to the Payless corporate office today, but have not gotten another response. In their latest statement from Saturday night, Payless says it is devastated by what happened and is working with authorities to understand it. And I've also asked the GBI for a cause of death. We're still waiting on that information. Of course, we'll continue to push for answers because we know so many people are interested in this story and what happened to this little girl tragically, Melissa.
I can't imagine what this family is going through, and I know it will stay in the story. Thank you, Chris.
Today, jury selection began in the long-awaited high-profile Tex McIver murder trial. He's the prominent Atlanta attorney who stands accused in the shooting death of his wife in 2016. But before they could even begin questioning potential jurors, the judge had to rule on some key pieces of evidence in the case. 11Alive's Caitlin Ross spent the day in the court. She is live downtown. Caitlin, how will this impact the case?
Well, Jeff, there's so much to iron out in this case. The prosecution and defense really fighting over every little thing. And this morning, it seems like the judge gave the prosecution a little bit more leeway. He ruled that the prosecution is going to be able to bring in that estate sale that Tex McIver had of his wife's belongings. He sold off her furs, jewelry, and clothing for thousands of dollars just weeks after her death. The judge said that goes to his state of mind and it's admissible in this trial. The other thing he ruled on are the statements made by Tex McIver's spokesperson immediately after Diane McIver's death. He told reporters that Tex took out his gun because he was scared of Black Lives Matter protests that were going on at the time in Midtown. The judge ruled that too can be heard by the jury.
This is not a case about race. There are certain aspects of what the evidence may be that pull us in that direction. It needs to be limited, and so it ought not to be the focus of the state's case.
And we've only gotten through about half of the first panel of potential jurors, the judge and prosecution, defense, questioning them really aggressively, trying to figure out what they know about the case. And so far, we've had almost a dozen thrown out. Coming up at 6, we'll talk about why those jurors are being excused.
You have a sense this is going to be a very, very long, drawn-out trial once it gets going. Our team on the late feed will be digging deeper into the daily happenings inside the courtroom. Vinny Politan and his legal dream team will have a debrief on Facebook Live at 7:30.
Very pleasant day when it came to the temperature.
It was pretty good.
But it was cloudy. So that leads a lot of people to say, well, where's the rain, right?
Where's the rain, Chris?
It is on the way. In fact, a lot of the clouds that we had today, if you were looking on your weather app today, you may have seen some green on there, but we go outside and it wasn't raining. That's because even though those clouds had rain in it, it was evaporating before it made it to the ground. And that's what we were seeing today. Most places stayed dry. Over to the west right now, we're beginning to see a little more moisture, though, that is holding together a little bit. This isn't quite as widespread as it looks here on radar, but there may be just a few raindrops coming down here west of the city from Calhoun up toward the Dalton area, down toward Rome, Cedartown, also here over parts of Polk County, Haralson County, and into western Carroll County, too. So as this comes closer to us, those clouds thicken up a little bit, and yeah, there may be just a few raindrops with it. The main system we're watching is still out to the west. This is what's going to move in later on tonight as our atmosphere just gets a little more moist as this system gets closer to us, and we'll see our better rain chances overnight tonight and early tomorrow. We don't really expect any thunderstorms with this. Now, here's a look at Rome. You can see that there's not a lot of heavy rain or anything there, but the roads are just a little bit damp there from some of that light rain that is able to make it down from those clouds before it evaporates. So just know there's just a little bit of moisture out there. dampening the roadways for just a little bit. Here's our future radar track. Going through the rest of the evening hours, a lot of that activity is really not going to make it to the ground. It's going to fall apart as it moves through. So 9 o'clock, most areas are going to be dry. And then at midnight, most areas dry after midnight. It's when we get into those overnight hours toward tomorrow morning, when that next push of moisture moves our way, that's going to give us the better coverage of rain. So for your drive into work tomorrow, I want you to be prepared for wet roads, as that's where we're going to see these showers around. This is at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then through 11 o'clock, still some of those showers around, moderate, maybe even a couple of pockets of heavy rain. Again, nothing severe out of this, just some good rainfall coming through. We do see an end of this rain coming later in the afternoon tomorrow. We'll put a timeline on that for you and let you know about the cold air that's going to move in behind this system. Yes, some folks later in the week will even be flirting with the freezing mark. We're going to talk more about that coming up. Was that a bless you? Was that a sneeze or a
That was
cough
just a
there?
cough.
Okay, all right.
It's a nagging cough, isn't it?
I know exactly how that is.
All right, Chris, thanks. Tonight we are still waiting on the ID of a body that was found in the Yellow River over the weekend. That's in Newton County. A fisherman found the body floating in the water. Deputies tell us they do not have a missing persons case in that county. You can stay with us. 11alive.com will have updates on any new information that we are able to ascertain. It has been one of our top stories on 11alive.com all day. New pictures of a slain officer's newborn baby. These are the pictures of baby Bodie Allen Maddox. The photographer shared the images with us, saying she was honored to take these photos. We have a slideshow up with all the pictures on 11alive.com. Baby Bodie was born days after the death of his father, Locust Grove police officer Chase Maddox. He was shot and killed while helping to serve a warrant with 2 Henry County deputies last month.
Opiates putting more and more children than ever into the hospital. We will break down the new report out about how the drug is now impacting children.
Plus, our investigation into a local attorney accused of ruining lives now is starting to get some results. We'll have an update coming up right after the break.